Hello, and welcome to this brief video prepared for the centennial celebration of the village of North Chevy Chase, located in Montgomery County, Maryland. As many of you know, the village of North Chevy Chase was created as a special tax district in 1924 and established its first council with 5 members who took office on April 15th and April 17th, 1924, as mentioned in the notes you can see from the first meeting. The village of North Chevy Chase has grown quite a bit over the past 100 years, and in this video, I'd like to highlight a few residents who lived in a beautiful home right here at the entrance of the village, in what is now known as 8801 Kensington Parkway, although it was 9101 Connecticut Avenue in the past. In this image, you'll see the original map of the North Chevy Chase neighborhood, which was purchased in 1893 by Redford Walker and his son Henry, and subdivided in 1897 into 9 separate blocks with a few streets separating them. Just to orient you, you can see Kensington Parkway, which was initially called Connecticut Avenue, Montrose Driveway, Kenilworth Driveway, Inverness Driveway, and Montgomery Avenue. Let's focus in on Block 1, which you can see here in this map from 1931, already with some of the first homes built in the village of North Chevy Chase. This block is a little triangle with the borders of Kensington Parkway, formerly known as Connecticut Avenue, Montrose Drive, and Jones Bridge Road, formerly known as Jones Mill Road. This block is located at the main entrance to the village of North Chevy Chase, and this house, located on Lot 4, is one you may recognize, 8801 Kensington Parkway. You can see a great comparison of the home today and the home about 100 years ago with a water tower in the back. This home was designed by Clarence Harding, an architect who lived in this home, and was built by John Simpson and his sons, other residents in the village of North Chevy Chase that I highlight in a separate video. When Clarence Harding lived at 8801 Kensington Parkway in the early 1900s, he was just starting his career as an architect and did work with the North Chevy Chase developer Redford Walker, as you can see in this newspaper blurb from the Evening Star printed on Saturday, December 21st, 1895. He soon moved on to work as a prominent architect in the Chevy Chase and DC area. Clarence Harding established a firm with Frank Upman, which went by Harding and Upman, their last names, which you can see here in this March 24th, 1907 Washington Times article about the design of a hotel on New Jersey Avenue, which no longer exists. They designed homes in Chevy Chase and DC and notable buildings such as hotels and this church, which you can still see today. It looks very similar to the image printed in the Washington Post on June 6, 1909. Clarence Harding lived at 8801 Kensington Parkway for just a short period of time before listing it for sale and selling it in 1910 to Martin Wiegand, a prominent businessman in Washington, D.C., as you can see in this Washington Post article from February 1907, which included him among potential businessmen of the district, really keeping them on their toes by mentioning their potential. Martin Wiegand established a very successful lumber yard on Maryland Avenue in Washington, D.C., and his purchase of 8801 Kensington Parkway in 1910 was announced in the newspaper. The articles note that the home was designed by Harding and Upman and built by Simpson's sons. Both Harding and Simpson, remember, are North Chevy Chase residents highlighted in these centennial videos. The home was purchased in 1910 for about $10,000, which is equivalent in purchasing power to about $329,000 now, April 2024. Compared to the April 2024 Zillow estimate of just over $1 million, I imagine we can agree that Wiegand bought this home for a deal. This was Wiegand's family country home or farm, where they kept a horse and dogs, the latter which I could figure out through this lost and found ad in the Evening Star on October 24th, 1915. Wiegand's collies, Guy and Rudolph, strayed or were stolen. Let's hope they returned. In addition to being a successful businessman, Martin Wiegand was very involved in the German-American community and was not afraid to speak up. In 1913, at a time when the U.S. was segregated, the United German Society refused awarding medals to African-American high school students studying German. Martin Wiegand spoke out against the unjust treatment and advocated for the African-American students to receive the awards they deserved. He also spoke out against the anti-German sentiment as noted in this Evening Star article from December 15th, 1915, and stated that we are all Americans, and I will venture to say that there is not a man present tonight who would not take up arms for the United States in the event of a wrongful attack by Germany. Martin Wiegand's family may no longer live in the village of North Chevy Chase, but the lumber yard still exists in DC and actually is still owned by the Wiegand family, descendants of Martin Wiegand. On March 21st, 1923, Martin Wiegand sold 8801 Kensington Parkway to Benjamin and Estelle Skinker, whose family owned and lived in this home almost 70 years, purchasing it in 1923 and selling it in 1991. Here in the 1930 census list, you can see that Benjamin and Estelle lived at 8801 Kensington Parkway with their daughter, 3 sons, and Miss Skinker's father, Aaron Heilman. Benjamin Skinker, the dad, had a gas station and car wash at the corner of Albemarle Street and Connecticut Avenue, which you can see advertised here. Does the car wash look familiar? It's still standing today, and if you want to guess, you may want to pause now before you continue, because I'm going to tell you that it is Flagship Car Wash, my favorite car wash, since it gives me an excuse to enjoy a treat from Bread First right next door. And now I love it even more knowing that a former Village of North Chevy Chase resident built and owned this car wash almost 100 years ago. The Skinker Brothers gas station right next to the car wash was demolished in 1981, but the car wash still stands. During the Depression, Skinker managed to keep his business going and pledged his entire net profits for the month of January 1932 to the District of Columbia's Committee on Employment to help Washington's unemployed. He announced this in an ad where he showed a copy of the letter in which he already committed $100 to this donation. You can find more history on Skinker and his gas station business at the Forest Hills Connection website. Benjamin Earl Skinker, one of Benjamin's 3 sons, went by a great nickname, Fuzz, and followed his father's footsteps. As stated in his high school yearbook, he aimed to own a gas station, which he did, as you can see in this ad, in the 1946 Bethesda Chevy Chase yearbook. Earl Skinker's gas station was located at 7830 Old Georgetown Road, but is no longer there today. I hope you've enjoyed learning a bit more about some residents who lived at 8801 Kensington Parkway over the past 100 years, Clarence Harding, Martin Wiegand, and the Skinker family. This is one of the oldest homes in the village of North Chevy Chase, and it is still beautiful to this day. Please consider viewing all the videos prepared for the Centennial Celebration to learn more about the village of North Chevy Chase and its history from the early 1900s to today.